Welcome to Art Bytes from the Mariana Kistler Beach Museum of Art. I'm Catherine Slogic, Associate Curator of Education here at the museum, and today I would like to share some information with you about Christina McPhee's Fort Laramie's Officers' Quarter No. 4 Sioux Pipebag overlay, which was done in 1994 and is a mixed media drawing. Christina McPhee, the artist, was born in Los Angeles County, but grew up in eastern Nebraska. She attended Scripps College, Claremont, California, the Kansas City Art Institute, and the Boston University School for the Arts. During the 1990s, McPhee lived in the Kansas City area, and she currently lives in California. The work that we're going to look at was done during the mid-1990s, but during the early 2000s, she was also working on electronic sound and streaming images, which she called slipstreams. And this included a project called Slipstream Kanza that she did with Jay Hammer, professor at K-State, which captured the wind, light, and sound of the Kanza Prairie through film. Her current work is more map-like or cartographic, and it's based on the desert and arid zones near where she currently lives. The works reflect climate change and use scientific charts, poetry, science fiction, as well as photographic montages. The work that we're going to look at today, Fort Laramie's Officers' Quarters No. 4, Sioux Pipebag Overlay, is part of a series that was done in the mid-1990s and reflects the passage of time. The two-piece image features 4 windows through which the landscape can be seen in what appear to be ruins of walls with markings left by humans and time. The series, which features a number of sites, including San Juan and Tua Pueblos and Fort Laramie, Wyoming, is informed by archaeology, both in topic and construction. So you will see migrations, dance, rituals, and archaeological sites from the plains and the Mountain West. McPhee wrote, "The thing I am most drawn to is both the exotic and frontier landscape and the quality of the presence of ordinary lives past. In these places, layers of time and human history seem palpable, invisible to the camera, yet present to the eye of the intellect and spirit. My work takes shape when I draw and photograph at specific landscape sites, places where layers of time expressed as rock formation are exposed, or where the traces of human culture persist, as at archaeological sites." I mentioned that the process itself actually is archaeological, so let's look at that a little bit more closely. McPhee takes photographs of the places that she is using as the bottom layer of the work, and she uses an overhead projector to trace the outlines of these places. From that point, she begins to layer watercolor, colored pencils, graphite, water-soluble pencils, and pastels in various layers over and over on the top, going back and filling in each time, perhaps using some more water to spread colors out. And then finally, in the end, and you can see in the upper right-hand corner, she will take a glaze created of an acrylic gel with a little bit of color in it and cover the whole piece, so that as you look at the piece, you're seeing layer upon layer upon layer, just like you would find at an archaeological site. Fort Laramie, Wyoming, little bit of history. The land originally belonged to the Lakota Sioux, the Cheyenne, and the Arapaho tribes. This was hunting grounds for these tribes. In 1834, Robert Campbell and William Sublette created Fort William. In Fort William, they took over the land and used it as a place to trade with the various tribes for buffalo hides. Later, as the settlers started coming in, about 1841, it turned into more of a supply outpost, and they built a larger fort named Fort John, and primarily were serving settlers as they were going westward. The Army bought the land, the fort, in 1849 and officially renamed it Fort Laramie. As conflicts grew between the native populations and the white settlers, major military campaigns were launched from the fort. A number of treaty negotiations, including the Horse Creek Treaty of 1861 and the controversial Treaty of 1868, were signed at Fort Laramie. In 1890, at the end of the Indian Wars, the fort was auctioned off, and then finally in 1938 was purchased by the National Park Service. The photographs that we are looking at show the fort in 1870 and an aerial view of how it looks now, and then two detailed photographs of the non-commissioners' officers' quarters, which are ruins. And these are the spaces or the architectural foundations of Christina McPhee's Fort Laramie. These were constructed of limestone and plaster, and there were 6 of them. They were 4-room apartments for the married or non-commissioned staff, and they were built about 1881 or 82. In addition, the artwork includes the Sioux Pipebags, and there are several of these shown here. Most interesting is the one over in the bottom right corner, which is from the Kansas Historical Society. The pipes themselves have been an enduring symbol for Native people. They were used for both secular and ceremonial purposes. They were brought out at group functions such as war rallies, trading, ritual dances, healing ceremonies, marriage negotiations, and dispute settlements. Tobacco was considered to be a gift from the supernatural powers to man, although leaves, roots, grasses, and various barks and herbs were also smoked. The smoke produced by the pipe helped carry the prayers to their destination. The fringed bags were used for storing and transporting the pipes. And you can see that they're made out of leather, and then they have quill and beadwork, very decorative, on top of them. The designs, which appear to be geometric to us, are actually stylized natural things like the clouds. The one from the Kansas Historical Society also has the name of Chief Red Cloud written on the bag, indicating that it was at least used during the time, but not necessarily proving that it belonged to him. George Catlin actually spoke about the pipes in his letters on notes on manners, customs, and conditions of the North American Indians in 1844. And this is what he wrote. Many ages after the red men were made, when all of the different tribes were at war, the Great Spirit sent runners and called them all together at the red pipe. He stood on top of the rocks, and the red people were assembled in infinite numbers on the plains below. He took out of the rock a piece of the red stone and made a large pipe. He smoked it over them all, told them that this was part of their flesh, that though they were at war, they must meet in this place as friends. And that's sort of the tradition that we think about as we talk about these pipes. They were often used for ceremonies to create treaties, but again, many, many other situations where they could be used. So as we finish, we can look again at the 2 pieces that go together by Christina McPhee. We can see these 4 windows, and through them that landscape, the Wyoming landscape. And then as you look at the walls, you can begin to see the pieces of the pipes. One place where it's very prominent is at the center, top center of the piece on the left-hand side. And I'd like to just leave you as you continue to look at this and think about Fort Laramie, the Sioux Pipebags, and the archaeology of Christina McPhee's work, some words written by her. Calligraphies of light and glimpsed forms, marking landscape, stirring memory, touching spirit. These marks made doors and paths in a visual metaphor of time. Thank you so much for joining me.